As part of We the People, celebrating 250 years, here's this day in history.
It is coming down outside. That shot, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's east of Madison.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, we are celebrating America's 250th birthday, less than a month away now. We are sharing our We the People series, the people, places, and things of the past that have shaped our country into what it is today. We are staying here in Wisconsin talking about the Packers, a prominent figure here.
Yeah, on this day, June 5th, 1989, Bob Harlan was elected CEO and the 9th president of the Green Bay Packers. Harlan is credited for helping with one of the most remarkable on-field and off-the-field turnabouts in NFL history. In 1991, Harlan hired Ron Wolf as general manager of the Packers, who was a key recruiter for the young Mike Holmgren, which would then lead the Packers to making a trade for Brett Favre. On the business side, two decisions that were crucial to the Packers remaining financially competitive were, one, leaving Milwaukee after the 1994 season to play all of their home games at Lambeau Field, and two, Harlan was also a key figure in the push to revitalize Lambeau Field in 1997 when the stadium was becoming outdated. He serves as the head of the organization until January 28th of 2008. That's this day in history for June 5th.
And he recently passed away as well within the last year or so, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the big one was Ron Wolf.
Yeah, bringing him in.
Yeah, because he kind of ran the show there, and that's when the big turnaround. You probably don't remember the Packers of the 70s.
Nope.
I do.
Not good?
It was not good.
And the 80s, right? They weren't good.
Yeah, into at least the first half of the 80s, not so good.
It's kind of funny to think of the Packers as not being a well-run organization. It doesn't compute with me because they've always been in my lifetime. You know? Yeah. Charlie, thank you.